Hey everyone, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and week 2 is just about over except for the Monday night game tonight. So I wanted to get out the waiver wire video for you guys that might need to pick up some players. Maybe you need to fill in some players that didn't do so well, or some injuries, or finding that little bit of that diamond in the rough for you guys this week to help you guys, again, continue your victories and get into that championship. Obviously, a lot of things have changed this past weekend. You saw some players kind of skyrocket up, some players kind of rocketed down. Again, don't always overreact. Sometimes the first 3 to 4 games kind of really help kind of determine how this season's going to be. So again, don't always overreact, but these are going to be some waivers that you might really want to go after to kind of help you guys and really solidify your bench. Maybe some backup starters. Again, get you ready for the week 3 upcoming, all right? If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. That way you guys are notified every time we drop a video just like this or our start sit videos. Also, ask away questions. Hit us up in the comments down below. You can always ask us if there's certain players you're unsure of or who to drop. Of course, if you're getting trade offers. And then, of course, we'll be dropping our start and sits. Hit us up on our socials, DMs, whether it be Instagram or Twitter. We'll be answering those as soon as possible. We are trying to be as available as possible for you guys. We want to make sure you guys get that personal answer every single time you ask. So let's kind of jump right into this. It's not going to be as many players as you would hope, but it's kind of how it works. We're kind of getting a little bit deeper into the season as far as the first couple of weeks. We're going to the week 3. Again, you're pretty sure what your team is looking like, but this is going to help you out. So the first is going to be quarterback position. Now, as far as quarterbacks go, first person I want to mention is Derek Carr. He's available in about 74% of the leagues right now. He's looked amazing the first 2 games. He's definitely going to be more of the gunslinger attitude. He's got some good weapons on the outside. I love Edwards, of course, Waller, and then he's got Ruggs. Those are some good weapons for him. He did have to throw a little bit more this week, of course, with Jacobs being out, and they had to fill in with Barber and Drake. But I like Derek Carr, and they're going against the Dolphins, who looked just shredded against the Bills, unfortunately. And, you know, one player I do obviously always kind of emphasize when you're going against the Dolphins is Xavier Howard. He does an amazing job. They also have Byron Jones, but they didn't do a great job of, really stopping that Buffalo Bills. And I really think Derek Carr and his team can actually really provide that spark. So if you guys are in need of a quarterback, or maybe just need to do some streaming quarterbacks, you want to fill in, Derek Carr's a great option. Next guy I have is Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has been on fire. He's available about 34% of most leagues. Again, he may not be available in yours, but if he is, I think he's actually a really good pickup. Him and his connections with his receivers, whether it be Osborne, Jefferson, Thielen, whoever it is, he is throwing down the field and getting touchdowns left and right. They're going against Seattle Seahawks, who typically give up a lot of yards. I wouldn't say necessarily lose the games, as you saw this past weekend, but they do give up a lot of yards. So I do like Kirk Cousins. He's been getting about 2 to 3 touchdowns a game. He looks really good. He looks like this is probably one of the best times he's looked in a while. And he's got great weapons on the outside to really offset, some of his bad throws. But he looks really good. Again, another good quarterback. He's got a good matchup this week in the Seahawks. Might be a good filler for you, or maybe your quarterback for the future. Next guy I have is Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is available in about 83% of most leagues. He's averaged 2 touchdowns a game. He looks really good. Now, again, remember last year, Teddy Bridgewater started off really well. I'm hoping he kind of stays in that trend and going in the up direction. But again, last year he did really well. We recommended him a few times, and then he started to kind of drift back down to reality and kind of showing why he's not necessarily a top elite quarterback in the league. He does well, but he's not an elite quarterback. But if you are looking for a quarterback this week, he's got the Jets right now, and the Jets actually, again, unfortunately are the Jets, right? It is going to be a little bit of a shootout. I think they're going to be a little bit more running, but I like Teddy Bridgewater. He's playing very smart. Him and Sutton looked really good. The other receivers, Hamler and Patrick, were okay, but he really looked good connecting with Sutton. And just think, when Jerry Jeudy comes back, I think it's going to only help Teddy Bridgewater, so I like him going into the future. The last guy is Taylor Heineke. Look, Taylor Heineke, he's available in 96% of most leagues. He looked really good against, I know it's the Giants, but he looked good against the Giants. I wouldn't necessarily say pick him up this week for matchup reasons. He's going against the Buffalo Bills, which, as you saw, against Jacoby Brissett, of course, not Tua, but they looked really good. And that makes me nervous for Heineke this week. But he does have that spark to him that I think might help you a little bit when he comes into the future, after week 3 or, maybe 4. if you do desperately need a quarterback. But again, this is only if you desperately need a quarterback, but he's one of those waiver quarterbacks I would absolutely go after with as well if the other quarterbacks that I mentioned are not there. Now, as far as running backs, this is very, very thin. I've only got 2 guys here, as you can see. I've got Tony Pollard. He's available about 48% of leagues. They're going against the Eagles this upcoming week. Here's the problem that I have with Tony Pollard. He is not the starting running back, but here's the upside, and I actually have him. If you are a Zeke owner, Tony Pollard should be in your lineup as far as a handcuff player. If you're not a Zeke owner, Pollard might be someone you might want to stash on your bench in case something were to happen, but also with what you're seeing for Dallas. Dallas is using Pollard as a change of pace back. On top of that, he's getting a lot of plays in the slot. Not CeeDee Lamb, Pollard has, especially since Gallup has been out. They do like Cedric Wilson a lot, but they're really trying to get Pollard the ball. And they actually mentioned that in the offseason that Pollard is somebody they want to get the ball, whether it be running or passing, and you're seeing that left and right. He looked really good. He had over 100 rushing yards. He was way more efficient than Zeke. He's that spark that the Cowboys are needing, and I think they're going to continue to utilize him. He's going to get about 10 to 15 touches a game, which is great for a running back. So, again, I think you should look out and get him as fast as you can. The next guy, this is kind of dependent on your league. Now, most leagues have Cordell Patterson as a running back. He's also in some leagues as a running back wide receiver. But the Falcons treat him as a running back option. He's available in about 88% of leagues. He was definitely a better weapon than, unfortunately, Mike Davis. Obviously, he's not a 3-down back. He's more of the, I would say, closer to red zone, more of a gimmicky type player. Think of a Tariq Cohen type of player. But they're going against the Giants this week. Falcons, look, they struggle a lot. They play behind. And I think the Giants, with what they showed against the Washington football team on Thursday, that they're obviously willing to pass and really score some touchdowns. And I think that's going to be something the Falcons are going to have to obviously take into account. So if you are looking for maybe a flex spot, maybe if you're super flex, different things like that, he might be somebody you might want to consider. So make sure you look out in the waivers. Now, as far as wide receivers go, first guy I have is Darnell Mooney. There's a little bit more options as far as wide receivers go, as you can see. So here's the first one is Darnell Mooney. Look, he's available about 55% of most leagues. They're going against the Browns this week. The reason why I mentioned him is if Justin Fields is actually going to start, right, for the Bears, we'll see. Obviously, he had to come in due to injuries to Andy Dalton. But if he does end up being the starter, him and Mooney have a really good connection. Unfortunately, not Allen Robinson, but him and Mooney have a really good connection. I think part of that is, off-season and things like that, training together. So I like what the potential could be with Mooney, and I talked him up all off-season that he's one of those sleepers that I think might actually really break out this year. And I think part of that really has to do with Justin Fields being in a quarterback. Now, the next guy is Rondale Moore. A lot of people have been really kind of quiet on him. Here's the deal with Moore. He's available about 68% of leagues. You saw what he did this past Sunday, an amazing game. He's kind of slowly becoming the second receiver opposite of Hopkins, not Kirk. Christian Kirk is really going to be the slot receiver for them. So with that said, the fact that Moore is starting to do a little bit more, no pun intended, but he's doing more for this team, and I think he's only going up. So I like him a lot. Moore is going to be one of those guys that might sneak in to the starting lineup. It might be a good wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 flex option for you guys. They are going against the Jaguars, so it's a good opportunity this weekend for them. I think he's one that you might, maybe sleep on, or if you do any of those DFS, he's a good player to pick up because he's really cheap right now. Next guy I have is Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs actually looked really good this past weekend, and I think part of that is, again, Derek Carr is throwing the ball a lot more. Now, if Jacobs comes back, that might change it just a slight bit, but Ruggs has always been the guy that they've been hoping to turn into that stud receiver for them. And he does show flashes. He's not very consistent quite yet, so I wouldn't say just start him every single week, but I like Ruggs. If you are in need of maybe wide receiver depth and you're not really sure who to pick up, I do like Ruggs as an option. He's available in 68% of leagues. They are playing the Dolphins this week. Again, my only concern with that is he's going to be opposite of Xavier Howard. Howard's one of the best corners in the league, and I don't feel comfortable with that. But he is somebody you might want to consider. Now, the next guy I have is Sterling Shepard. I talked about him last week. I talked him as a sleeper for you. He put about 18 points on Thursday night. He's really the favorite target of Daniel Jones. He got 9 catches, over 96 yards. And he's one that he works the slot. He does a lot of the scat back stuff. He's running around a lot. He moves the offense around through showing zone or man, whatever it might be. He's really the first target, not Galladay. So I like Sterling Shepard. He's still available in about 43% of most leagues. They are going against the Falcons, which is a great opportunity for Sterling Shepard again to really show off his skill set and actually have maybe a 10 to 15 plus point game. I do like him a lot, so make sure you go after him. Next guy is Michael Pittman. I liked Michael Pittman a lot last year. I haven't really been super crazy about him this year, but he went off this past Sunday. Him and Carson Wentz looked really good, and I like what was able to be seen from him. He's available in about 49% of most leagues. They are going against the Titans, which is a little bit tougher, and the fact that Wentz is dealing with an injury kind of makes things a little bit more of a murky situation because Easton didn't look great when he came in to fill in. So depending on what's going to happen with Wentz, I think it's his ankle that's hurt. If he comes back where he's going to miss a few games, then Michael Pittman might drop a little bit. But if Wentz does come back and he's healthy, I like Pittman a lot. I talked about Pascal before. Pascal still had another touchdown, had a good game. But Michael Pittman's a little bit of their bigger guy, so I like him. The last guy I want to mention is KJ Osborne. KJ Osborne looks great. He's really kind of taken that slot role and that third down receiver for the Vikings. The Vikings are really spreading the ball around, whether it be Thielen, Jefferson, Osborne. Osborne's got some great upside. Again, this is a pick that would be for maybe some good depth, dynasty leagues, deeper, leagues. Maybe you've got more positions in the bench. He is available in about 98% of most leagues. Again, they are going against the Seahawks, so he's got an opportunity to really do well in that slot role. But again, he's not somebody I would start every single week. But if you do need maybe some super flexes, maybe some flex spots, maybe you're looking for that sleeper in DFS, I like Osborne a lot. Now, I don't have a tight end here. Really aren't any tight ends really worth going after right now. You might maybe see a Gesicki drop or maybe Jared Cook still out there, but I'm not super crazy about those picks. They have not really turned out very well, and I don't see a lot of upside in them. So I'll keep an eye, of course, if there's any tight ends that might land a little bit of the higher availability. But if it's only 15% available on a tight end that's pretty good, I'm not going to mention that. He's probably not available in your league. But make sure you keep an eye out because sometimes some people get frustrated. Again, week 1 and 2, it's overreaction time. People freak out based off of what they did in week 1 or 2. You can't freak out. Sometimes you get a loss, sometimes you get a win, but maintain the course. These guys will get in their rhythm. It just takes a couple weeks to get there. All right. So if this video was helpful for you, make sure you hit that like button. It greatly helps us out. Also, again, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you guys are notified every time we drop a video just like this. Ask away in the comments if you do have certain questions about who to pick up and who to drop, or if people are starting to throw some trades your way, or maybe you're ready to offer some trades. Make sure you ask in the comments, or again, hit us up on our socials, Twitter and Instagram. Always hit on our DMs. We'll be able to answer those questions for you. All right. So I'm super excited. Week 2 is just about over. We're getting ready to go to week 3, and I'll see you guys next time.